Now we'll listen from a man of God who has a great vision for the marketplace, whom God has been using in the marketplace. And we are so privileged to have Brother Arun Samuel with us. Let's give a big round of applause. Brother Arun is here. And he was very busy and he needs to attend other meetings also. But despite his busy schedule, he just came. We are so thankful, sir, that you could come. And we have been trying to meet for a long time, and God had this in plan that we could finally meet in Chennai. And I know I was in Bangalore and he was in Chennai. And he had come for some meetings, and we couldn't confirm this to you earlier, but it's so good that he's here.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Let's have some energy in the room. This is a wow conclave. And Brother Sunil has really struggled and put this together with a lot of prayer from Pastor Robin Paul and all the others. So let's really bring life into this room, because this conclave is not about ourselves, but is about a mighty God. And that's what I say. He's a faithful God. Today, as you see in the video, you can see not Arun Samuel, because I could have done it. I'd have done it many years back. It took 42 years that you're seeing right now. And it's the faithfulness of God. If I can boast, it's in His faithfulness. And thank God for what He does and what He thinks. And I pray today that each one of you will get the vision. Today, as we throw seeds, I pray the seeds will fall on good soil and the soil will bear forth fruit. I want to thank WOW team for beautiful theme, Way of Wealth. You know, wealth is good to have. As long as we have it and we use it well and be a blessing and be an influencer, especially the community, we can do great. And thank you, Dr. Sunil, for calling me here. I'm sorry that we had to rush you up. Pastor Robin Paul, thank you for inviting me also, and thank you for sacrificing your time out here. And so I've come in because I need to get back, but I really thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here today. And the Fisher team, I just met last night, but all of you are wonderful potential people, and God bless you for what you do. And I pray that God, who's no man's debtor, will indeed reward you for what you've done. With this, I just want to go straight to that each one of us to know that we have a big God. And this is a beautiful story I would like to start with a father and son taking a walk. And the father and son are walking, and the son looks up at his daddy, a small boy, as in the picture. He looks up at his daddy and he says, "Daddy, how big is God?" And the father looks down at his son for a minute, and he's wondering now how to answer this question. How big is God? And he's looking down and he looks up in the sky, and he sees an aircraft flying very far away. And then he looks at his son and he says, "Son, how big is the aircraft that is flying up there?" And the little boy looks up in the clouds and he tries to take his little fingers up and he tries to spread it as much as he can. He says, "Daddy, this big." And the father says, "Son, let's go for a drive." And they both sit in the car, they go for a drive. The father takes him to the airport, which is close by. And when he goes close to the airport, there are aircraft standing by. And as they get closer, they see a big jumbo standing up there. And the father looks at the boy and says, "Son, how big is this aircraft?" And the little boy tries to spread his hand as much as he can, and he says, "Daddy, so big." My friends, I want to say to you that how big is God? When we see Him, if we see Him from far, He will look very small. But as we get closer to Him, as we read the Word of God, as we pray, and as we connect with Him, we will see, as we get closer, really how big God is. And today, the story is about the journey of wings. And this is not something that happened overnight. It has been a struggle. It's been the grace of God, as you see in the video. I came out of St. John's High School from an Anglican family. My parents were good people. My father was an engineer working in HL, sincere. My mom was working in CSI hospital. We came from the Anglican church. We came up with the fear of God. Every Sunday, DGS dinner curtain, 6 o'clock. We had to come for the Tamil message and sit down in the TV. That time it was the radio. We had to sit even though I didn't understand. But mom used to make us sit down. That's how we grew up. But here I was, finished school, went into college, got into all mischievous, messed up my life, got thrown out of Christ College, went into door to door. And so many things, I was so depressed because the people who I trusted and said, don't worry, we'll bunk the first year, second year we'll focus on. They managed to come back. But here I was, I said, hey, you told me that I will be there, don't worry. But you are going back to classes. His father was a businessman. He knew how to handle the priest at that time. We couldn't. And I went through many challenges. I had to get into door-to-door sales, which was tough. Pastor Robin Paul keeps on hearing the story. Maybe I should tell him to tell it. But anyway, just for a few people, I see a lot of new faces out here. And I remember going door-to-door sales. It was not easy. Every door was so difficult knocking, especially for a boy who comes from a middle-class home, walking into those gates, not knowing whether you're going to get a dog charging or some servant or someone shouting at you or the customer coming in. But it was challenging. And we were selling 0B. It was difficult. But thank God, in between, the product changed. My boss was in Bombay. He gave us a product called Revil, Tata Oil Mills Company, a washing machine detergent. And I remember that was a very trying time for me because I was very happy when the product came. Because it was only going and giving a free washing machine detergent to people who owned a washing machine. Along with that, those days was cassette. Give a Lata Mangeshkar cassette. Give the thing, say, sir, from Tomco, and this is a cassette for you. Please try it out on your washing machine. I was very happy there was a free product. And I kept going around and giving that product, and it was at 2:30 in the afternoon in Bangalore City, in Mosque Road. I went and knocked at a house, and nobody came. I knocked again, nobody came. I knocked. And finally the man came, and he looked very angry. So I looked at him, I gave him the best smile I could, and then I gave him the product in the hand, because they say give the product in the hand so they get disturbed, they look at the product. I gave the product in the hand, and I started speaking. I said, sir, I come to give you a free washing machine detergent. And I said that word free, free, free 3 times, thinking I will get the smile on his face the moment he sees the word free. And before I could give him the cassette, the next thing he did, I don't know how fast it was, he banged it on my head, and I had full powder falling on me. There was full powder, the washing machine detergent powder falling right on me. And I was looking at him with so much of anger, and I was wondering what to do. But I was standing at his doorstep. And I bent down, I apologized, somehow picked as much as powder as I could, put it back in the plastic cover, turned, and I walked towards the door. It was the worst steps. And as I went back, I remember getting on the bike and going close to a park which was close by. And in that park, there was a slide. There was an elephant slide. It was 3 o'clock, I think, by now. There was hardly any people. But I went on the slide because no one could see me. And as I was sitting on the slide, everything in me burst. My family, they were decent people. Here I was doing something which I was ashamed of. What I went through broke me. I was crying, and all sorts of thoughts of suicide and things of giving up came to my mind. My dad wanted me to be an engineer. Here I am messing up, doing door-to-door sales, thinking I could make it there. And everything was negative. But sitting there, as I was feeling sad for myself, I remember the story from the Sunday school and the VBS coming to me, the story of David. And I suddenly looked up and I said, God, here I am feeling bad for myself. I'm feeling really horrible. And the story of David is coming. So I looked up and said, God, either the Bible is a good storybook. It's got a fantastic story. Or there is power in the book, in the Bible. If you really picked David from a shepherd boy and made him a king, I said, here I am in the land of the living. Can you do the same to me? If there is power in the Bible, I challenged God sitting up there on that slide. I said, God, can you do it for me? I'm sorry. I apologized at that time. I said, I'm sorry for the mess I did. I thought things would work out, but I'm sorry. And I remember after saying that prayer, I got up, went to the bike. There were 2 things. One was to go back to the area, be with the boys that I messed up with. And the second was to continue doing the job. I always thank God I went for that journey. I went back to the next customer. And I always say, God sends angels. There was a lady I met the next call. She gave me some Kisan squash. Even till today, I love Kisan squash, the orange juice. She gave it to me, and she really encouraged me. And I kept going on. And I still remember, it was the beginning. And it was a faithful God that took us through. Even as I look, it didn't happen overnight. It took time. I was working for a promotion company. He didn't pay us a salary. We thought we'll get 50 rupees a day, 30 days, 1,500 rupees. I thought those days, 1,500 rupees was a big thing. I was planning things on my mind, but I was not getting paid. I finished the month, no salary. Second month, and the boss will say, send the statement. And then we will get it after 2 months, we'll get 1 month's payment. And I was wondering, God, where we are going. But by grace of God, my partner and I went to an exhibition in RBNMS, and we saw a client saying, hey, what do you guys do? We said we promote products, and TGL Quick Foods, Jamun mix, Puliogore mix, different mixes. He told, can you promote it? And we started our journey in 1984. I partnered with my local guy, Srinivas, that company called Arrow. I learned a lot of lessons, 9 years of partnership from 1984 to 1994. The journey started. And then I realized I always called my testimony as one where I told God I want to do business, I want to do something. And that's when I got into Arrow Promotion. But I didn't hear from God. I just went into, and then I learned so many lessons. That partnership, our God is a jealous God. He doesn't like the glory to go to anyone else. He deserves the glory. It's about being unequally yoked. So many lessons I learned which I never learned in school, I learned on the streets of the city. And I thank God, as you see that journey out there, you can see many, many companies that we started. And I want to say to each one of you, and I always say this, it's not about starting something, like I keep saying, you pull the shutter up, and you close the shutter and you open another shutter. Every company we started, we tried to keep the shutters up. We found the right people, we put them in that job, we told them to run it. I call them CEOs. Wings does not go and pick up the biggest people. We believe in picking up the people who are dropouts. We go to colleges, we ask the fathers, give us the people who are not doing well, who are the failures. We pick them up, we train them, we trust God to do something great. And I'm grateful because I see the hand of God. It is God who touches these people. Each company out there has taken a simple guy and we made him the CEO. We would call him and we'd give him big titles and say, man, build it up. And I would take him to stay in some of the best star hotels, tell him to see some business people and say, now go and imitate them. We're not equal to them, but we got something in you that we can rise up. And I believe we need to have the right attitude to climb up and go to the next level. So this is how Wings started, and you can see the journey up to 2026. And as we went on, one by one, each company has got a story. But I cannot take time to tell you the story. But today, by the grace of God, what started with me and 3 people, I came out of Arrow Promotion, started this company called Wings. I heard clearly from God. It was a vision given by God. When God spoke to me saying, through Abraham and Isaac, the story of Abraham and Isaac. And I saw the picture of Abraham and Isaac going up. Abraham taking his son Isaac to sacrifice. And I saw Isaac lying down and Abraham taking the knife to put it down. Early morning at 2:30. And I could see the knife almost going in. At that time, I heard a voice for the first time in my life saying, Arun, I'm asking you to sacrifice Arrow. And I never heard this before. And the next thing I knew was I was standing at a cliff. I looked down, I couldn't see the bottom. It was just green. And then I looked up and I saw a blue sky and an eagle flying across. And I heard the voice for the second time that same day saying, Arun, I'm asking you to jump. You will not fall, but fly. And that was early morning. It was a dream, but the voice was so clear. I remember David Fernandez, one of the pastors I have great respect for from Bombay. He came to speak in our church. There was Sunday and Monday he stayed over. And I ran to his room and I shared with David the story. And David said that verse from the Bible, they that wait upon the Lord shall rise up with wings as eagle. And something happened at that moment. At that moment I knew the company I'm going to start is going to be called Wings. And the logo will be that of an eagle. And that's why you see the wings and eagle. And God has been faithful from that month. From ever since I started in 1994, we started on 25th of December 1993. But we've seen the faithfulness of God. And today, this company has spread. It's got totally 14 divisions. If you can see, 14 businesses, right from activations to events to digital to infrastructure to facilities to aviation. We're taking over hospitals right now. Even yesterday, we had a meeting, Kalyani Hospital, we're taking over. So there's a lot of things happening. And we are grateful to God for the opportunity that is given to the 8,500 people, 8 countries, from a door-to-door salesman. It is the grace of God that has brought us this far. And I want to use that verse from Isaiah 30:21, which says, "Ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.' And that voice will tell us when to turn to the left and turn to the right." And I want to say to each one of us, we need to be in tune with the verse. That's what I started the story, saying we need to get closer to God. We need to be in tune with God to know exactly what He wants to tell each one of us. And as I go down to story of small opportunities of God build a company, I want to take 2-3 stories, but I want to drive it across different products. We were just a promoter. We were promoting products. I remember going for the briefing of Tetra Pak, where Tetra Pak came to India, and they were briefing my promoters that we call, saying that we need to go to the shops and tell them how to stack the product. Because even a Tetra Pak, if you don't put it like a brick, one on top of the other, it bulges, and it'll be a problem. So we had to go and teach them. And as we went in and taught them, I remember I was there for the briefing. But when I went on a trip to Vizag, I was coming down the lift. There was a person who came into the lift in Grand Bay. And he saw the branding wings, 3 of us, my team also. And he said, "What do you guys do?" We said, "We promote products." He said, "Can we have breakfast together?" We sat for breakfast. He said, I have a problem. Milk that's getting spoiled overnight, we convert into powder. And we're keeping the powder, we're trying to sell. We used to get orders from Brazil. This year is cancelled. We want to sell the product in India. Can you find a way to sell? I said, "Sir, I'll help you." And we thought we'd give him some ideas. But on the aircraft, I remember that voice saying to me a different idea. And it came to me about Tetra Pak, which said how milk that gets spoiled overnight can last 120 days in foil packing. And I got back, we had some friends in church who run the Ryan International School, which is across India. I connected with Mr. and Mrs. Pinto, spoke to them and said, "Why don't we run a school campaign?" It took 1.5 years for me to get that deal, but ultimately we got it. And I thought everything is going to fall in line. We thought we'd pick up the powder from AP Dairy. We'll get Tetra Pak to do the packing, and then we'll sell it to the schools. All seemed well. But then when Tetra Pak came to sell the product to the missionaries to AP Dairy turned around and said, "We can't buy." Chandrababu Naidu was the CM. He had heritage. He said, "No, we cannot buy this product." And Tetra Pak said, "We cannot invest the product by ourselves." Problem again. And I remember looking at a big investment, and I said to Tetra Pak, "If you give me an opportunity, if you put that mission, I'll pay you over time." But I got this order from the school, which will sell 73,000 packets every day. They gave us 73,000 kids every day to give a packet of milk. And each packet of milk, we were making 1 rupee. The deal came through. We opened a company called Wings Trading, bought the product from AP Dairy. The missionary was given by Tetra Pak, packed it up in Tetra Pak, brought to Bombay and gave it to children. 73,000 children were drinking our milk daily, Monday to Friday, and they paid it in advance. Those were days when we were struggling, and we saw the grace of God, how we made money. Today, with the money made there, we bought 1,750 school buses. Almost all of Ryan's school buses are owned by Wings, and we earn money from there. Each bus has got an advertisement. We got advertisement in the bus that raises 14 crores for us through brands like Britannia and Nestle's and others who want to reach the kids. So each one has been God giving us ideas. I say, infrastructure story. Again, I'm trying to run it short. I'm getting signals. I'll cut it off. It's a story of being one of we were just promoting credit cards like Brother Michael does, but we were doing the feet on street. We're doing the call center. And we were going around promoting ICICI cards, and we said, Bangalore is not enough. We need to go across India. We went to 18 states. We become one of the biggest sellers of credit cards, 42,000 credit cards per month. And some of the banks don't sell that even a year. We built a great team. We were invited by Mr. Kamat to South Africa. And we were sitting and speaking. He was speaking to the whole lot of people that were performers in ICICI Bank. And I remember after the meeting, there was time to go for a breakfast meeting. We were supposed to go for breakfast, and we went for breakfast. I was going with my turn, and I saw someone behind me. I turned around. It was Mr. Kamath himself waiting for his turn. I looked up at him, and I said, "Sir, you've been such a blessing." He probably didn't know the word blessing. He looked down at me and said, "Why are you saying blessing?" I said, "Sir, you build a company like ICICI. I seen it in BKC, Bombay. So many people have got jobs. But here I am, a small company which has got 1,450 people working for you because of the product that you made." He tapped my back and he said, Arun, I wish I could do more. And I don't know why. Again, something said to me, speak to him. And I turned around and I looked at him and I said, sir, give me an opportunity. I'll run for you. And I felt so foolish saying that because he's such a big man. He tapped my back. He said, take the food. I said, sir, you come in the front. He said, no, you take it. We went back. I thought he'll forget me. 1 week later, he calls me to come to Bombay. And I go and I meet his CMD, Shikha Sharma from ICICI Prudential. And I'm sitting there in a meeting waiting for the marketing person, but I thought it's going to be a marketing business. And suddenly, there's only infrastructure people out there, facility manager, infrastructure, project management. I'm wondering what the hell is happening. Where's the marketing person? Because I want to focus on them. And then she briefed me and said how she wants to go to small town to open up offices for ICICI Pru. And she said, Mr. Kamit said that you're willing to go to small towns and open up. Because I told him, sir, give me a chance, I'll run for you. And he told me, Arun, I feel like a gas balloon held back. And I said, so what else you want to do? And he said, I wish I could go to small towns, non-banking, that's what he said, non-banking places. So when she told me, we want you to go to small towns and help us to open, I was amazed. And first thing I wanted to do was back out because I was not doing that business. My business was marketing. But here she was telling me to open up offices for her. And she gave me 15 offers and said, 45 days it has to be ready. And it was Vijayawada, Vizag, Rajmundry, Aurangabad, small towns, Amravati, towns that it was spread across, Pune coming down. And I remember sitting on the flight, I was shivering here, I committed, I've never done that. I came back, I asked God for wisdom, and he said, write down. Jet Airways with the aircraft. We took the tissue paper that was there, napkin, the paper napkin, and wrote down 15 points. If they tick, it'll get done. I came back to the office, I called 15 people, I said, you're commandos. I said, I'm going to drop you in these cities. Go there, and these are the 15 things. Walk on the road, find a place, find a furniture guy, find the board. And they went and did. 43 days, we delivered 14 offices. One, because of Vijayawada, there's a problem in the building. And that gave birth to 650 offices that I built for ICICI. And that was the goodness of God. And many of the companies that I say is stories of God's goodness. Wing Sports Center, right here in YMCA. I used to come and sell Kellogg's in the stalls in the St. Peter's ground. And I was dreaming, God, one day I want to do an exhibition in this ground. And suddenly we get a chance. I hear the story of how the ground is in trouble. No one can use it. And I felt God challenging me, saying, go take that ground. There were politicians, there were all sorts of people involved. The gates were closed right at the entry. And the guys were threatening the YMCA guys. But we came in with boldness. We came in, we took the ground, and we cleared it up. We put up a small shed. We call it an auditorium. That auditorium, we not only did business out here, we also got to know the CM. We built relationship, which stood us in good state even today. And we are grateful to God. Today we have sports centers, and we got an aircraft that we give it to CMs. We go and serve on the aircraft. We give them coffee and tea. And then when he got down, he realized I'm a CMD. He said, you should not be doing this. I said, sir, I'm here to serve you. And 10 days later, he gives me a ground in Bombay, which is called the Wings Sports Center, 8.5 acres of land in Bandra. And so we're seeing the goodness of God upon the company. And I want to encourage each one of you, as you see this picture, which is, who are you in this picture? There's a lion that is calmly lying down. There's a wildebeest, which I call the opportunities. And there's a lioness that's attacking all the wildebeest. You know, this is how the world is today. Many of you are coming here to get into business. And I want to encourage you. Are you the one sitting back and like the lion and relaxing? Or you got the fire that's inside you that says, hey, I think I can go and get hold of that opportunity and turn it around. The story of David is such a great story of grab the opportunity. David was a shepherd boy, you know that. I love the story. And David went searching. David was there in the field. He was a rejected son, if you look at the story. When Samuel came to Jesse, he showed 7 sons, but David was not shown. Later, when Samuel asked Jesse, do you have any other? And then he says, yeah, there's somebody in the field, David. And look at the story of David. David takes lunch for his brothers who are fighting in Israel. He was just carrying the lunch. And there was Goliath shouting out and saying, hey, anyone can challenge me. You know the story. There were kings, there were generals, there were soldiers, but nobody took up the challenge to take on Goliath. But this simple guy called David said, hey, who can stand against the armies of the living God? He saw the challenge and he went in, even though there were better men out there. And you know the result. He won the battle against Goliath and he made sure that Israel got what they were supposed to get. And to each one of you, I want to encourage you and say, we have a big God. Tune into God. He is the one who can be the voice that tells you what to do, and he can put that confidence like he put in David. And you can grab the opportunity and become kings and big businessmen in this field. I pray God's blessing upon you, and thank you, Brother Sunil, for the opportunity. God bless you.